honest, I did get a call from Rob, and I misheard what he said originally, and that's what I thought he wanted me to talk about, which is Machu Picchu. Then I realised that was daft, and then I thought, actually no, this is what he said. And I thought, for anyone who knows who that is, but I don't like Chelsea, so that wasn't going to happen either. So I decided to do a separate talk on what we have done in eLearning in our company, and also what we could do better, and the reasons why I think that's the case. There is some interaction involved as well, by the way, and the 20 seconds isn't just going to be on me. We'll come to that in a moment. Okay. Same as other companies, we do a lot of stuff in-house. We have to develop a lot of our own building blocks as such. We do use Cadlet. I'm sure Pecha Kucha mentioned that. We do use Lectora, and we use Captivate, and we're shortly going to be using the Adobe eLearning suite, partly because that's what our American parent office use. Now, we're not developing this right now. This was our first ever attempt at eLearning. Isn't that great? It took someone 3 hours to get through that, and it's all the insurance financial details you could ever want to learn. And it's still actually available. It's supposed to be a reference piece, but it's not something I would recommend, mainly for your health. This is the sort of thing now that we're trying to develop. These are a couple of examples of stuff we do in-house now. Scenario-based, really short, having really good effect. That is actually compliance training on the left-hand side, and a systems version on the right, both, again, really short. And we're actually going to try using something like Codex ZI8 to get through things. Right, first question for you. According to Burton, how much has the percentage of energy budget spent on staff reduced in the last 5 years? Chart me out of percent. Lower.
22.
Higher.
24.
Higher.
27.
Very close.
28.
Yes, you win. Right. Okay. Right. Okay, now, you see how this is going to work. Are we doing enough though? No, I don't think we are. We are limited by time, which is that strange image, and we are limited by money. But are there other barriers as well? How about the mindsets? Not just of the users, but also the staff you've got creating things. L&D, for instance. Now, in my view, L&D used to be a bit like a small kid who's just been given something to eat, but they're not really that sure about it. They don't really want to try it. They're forced to try it, and they think, well, I'm not going to let the parents know I like this. And eventually they realise they're going to go pretty hungry if they don't actually eat it. Now, I think that L&D now are a bit more like this. They've seen all the toys out there, they know what's available, they've got these great ideas of what they're going to do. They're not sure if their parents have got the resources, or even if the house is big enough for it to fit in, but they're still going to ask for it all. And they get a bit disappointed when they don't necessarily get it all. Now, what they need to do is to filter down all of these ideas. They've got some really good ideas, but the kids soon learn that if they filter it down to just the things that they've researched and looked at, perhaps read some instructions on, and get some good ideas to pass to their parents, there's a much, much better chance that they're actually going to get the items that they want and can use. Now, next question. On Jane Hart's side, how many tools for creating, delivering, managing, and tracking learning and providing social learning environment listed? Quick. More. More. 800. No, less than 800. 300, very close. 302. Lower. 301. Lower. A little bit lower. Oh, last can have that. It's 296. Right, what does this slide mean to you?
Conversion.
Close? Preaching to the converted. Now, these things, we're often preaching to the converted. We know these tools, we know we want to use them. But do your users care? That's the question which I think we need to ask. Now, there's a lot of great tools out there. Oh, sorry, I shouldn't. Just get rid of that. As I said, there's a lot of great tools out there. And this is actually Jane Hart's site. Now, if you haven't been there before, you need to go there and find out some of these tools. But it doesn't necessarily mean that they're all great for you to use. As I've mentioned, Lectora and Captivate have worked great for us over the years. We're using Captivate actually more now. We're using starting to use the Codex, and also Lectora has helped us customise our little homepage for calendars. And that's how it is at the moment. We're going to change that again soon. And our users like that. It's a bit more like a web page, and it's got some useful things on there. But, as with all of these tools, we get excited by them. Does that mean that the users are going to get excited by them when most of what you produce for them is compliant stuff in our case? That's how often I think our users are probably feeling. And it's not such a good place to be. In my view, users expect to learn. They expect, well, I think they have a right to enjoy learning. Whether they get quite that excited, I think is probably quite debatable. But I think one thing we have to get in our minds is they're probably not as excited about these things as we are. And it's conveying that, making sure you know that before you try and create something that's great. Bear in mind that e-learning, as far as I can see, is not going to be top of the user's list of things to do. I don't know if that's a true one or not, but quite often it's fairly close to the bottom. And you would hope it was, because that's not the reason they're employed by your company. Especially when it comes to things like compliance, so be aware of that. Anyone know the film?
Indiana Jones and the Last Temptation.
Yeah, do you know what the knight says just before that? He says, choose wisely. And in my opinion, choosing wisely is very important, but use wisely, I think, would be a better way to do it. With these tools, use the right ones in the right way. You don't have to be a smash user of all these things going. Quick quiz. This is going to filter down. Your countdown's coming down. Sorry? No.
Mark Brewer.
No, well, that's all. No. Come on. Yes, Pecha Kucha. Well, Pecha Kucha really, because it's the whole thing about the presentation. So, now, last page, you can read through that. What you've got to make sure, in my view, is that your users don't do that thing at the bottom before they've actually finished the course. Okay? You want them to go back to work, but you want them to go back to work with the reason why they come to the course in the first place. And that is the end of my presentation.
If I was you, I'd give them to a judge.
Right, the judge. Right, the judge. We might have to call foul on that one.